Crolister, the Master Opponent. Hi guys, Crolister here with another gaming video. I'm gonna do another long play of the original Spyro the Dragon and Spyro Reignited Trilogy, except the entire game all in one video. This is a full completion run. I got all the gems, I got all the skill points, all of that, with no damage. The entire playthrough. I've gotten so good at my absolute favorite game that I can beat it without taking any hits every so often. It would have been interesting if the difficulty setting that Trilogy was supposed to have actually made the final game. I'd definitely be checking out the higher difficulty settings. So, oh well, it is what it is. Now, I'm going to be skipping the cutscenes that play after you rescue the dragons, in order to ensure that I can get through the game as quickly as possible. You cannot skip Nestor, Magnus, and Gnorc Gnexus, nor the cutscene that plays after the very end of the game, after you beat Gnasty's loot. All the other cutscenes besides those will be skipped, and I'll have the credits at the very end of the video. So, let's begin.
Thank you for releasing me, Spyro. Free 10 dragons in the Artisan world, then find the balloonist. He'll transport you to the next world.
What about Gnasty Gnorc? I'm going after him.
Find dragons first. That's all I can tell you.
Alright, so, here we go. Quite lag. The original Spyro the Dragon back on the Sony PlayStation was the first game I ever properly played outside of the arcade. Its demo was on a PlayStation demo compilation disc I had back in 1998 about. And Spyro the Dragon's demo was the first game I ever played on it. So the first game I ever played in general. Then, it kind of stuck as my favorite game of all, and now I have it on Reignited Trilogy on the Nintendo Switch. The Nintendo Switch version of the game does run at 30 frames per second, as do the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One versions, and the graphics are obviously lower than they are on the other companies' consoles, because, you know, hardware limitations. Nintendo doesn't compete for graphics, they compete for different ways to play games in general, and Sony and Microsoft occasionally copy those. So, PlayStation Move is totally copying the Wii. Xbox tried to compete with that as well with Kinect. Companies copy other companies because they know they're inferior to them, sales-wise. So, yeah. I believe the PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X and S versions of this game run at 60 frames per second, which is why I brought that up. And because my computer is not the best statistically, you're gonna see some laggy parts here and there. Though I think I've cleared up the issue I had before where certain parts of the video would halt entirely, making me miss the scene for a few seconds. I found out that I could disable or hide some notifications that appear in the lower left corner of my computer screen, and that helped with the lag significantly. So, yeah. I'm gonna be pausing parts of the recording over the loading screens as well, and attempt to save a few seconds. Not that each stage in the game takes that long to load, just a few of them do, like Stone Hill and this playthrough did. So if I skipped over the recordings where I'm just on the loading screens, it'll save a few seconds for the final video. Which will help because the base recording was a little bit over 3 hours. We're just getting through this as quickly as I possibly can. Of course, charging obviously does help you to move faster. Unless you're playing the Japanese version of the game. If you're as big of a Spyro fan as I am, you probably know that in Japan, Spyro flopped miserably. Because, Japanese test players were apparently getting motion sick because of how fast Spyro moved and the scene around him. So they completely modded the game so that you have like a Crash Bandicoot kind of camera perspective behind Spyro, and his charging would move about the same as his normal walking speed, which completely botched the character and the game, and that sucks. It's unfortunate that trans-regional games get controversy resulting in radical modifications overseas. You know, some Japanese games get altered for censorship because of cultural differences. They think stuff is all right there that's offensive in the West. And the same kind of goes for American games getting localized into Japan. And they're just never as popular. Crash Bandicoot was an exception. Crash did really well in Japan, actually. So, poor Spyro didn't have it his way there. And that's unfortunate. So, like I said, this is a no damage playthrough, so I have to be extra careful of how I approach enemies. Especially since it's not as easy to defeat enemies by charging in this game as it was in the original PlayStation game. In some cases, like the row of druids at the beginning of Magic Crafters, you have to jump and take the enemies out separately in order to ensure that you can avoid damage. You didn't have to do that in the original PlayStation game. Another kind of annoying detail is that I used to jump while charging to move faster, making it easier to catch thieves. In Reignited Trilogy, jumping while charging makes you move slower, making the thieves even more annoying. So, yeah. I'm getting every single skill point as well. There's a skill point in Stonehill for flaming that tulip you just saw earlier. Yeah. It can be a little bit easy to miss some of the gems here because of the wide charging range where the thief is. So basically, you just gotta play the game alive and memorize. Let's get some gems around here. The detail of the grass in the Reignited Trilogy can also make it a little bit harder to see some of the gems compared to the original PlayStation game. On the positive side, they do have the feature from the later games in the original PlayStation Trilogy where you can have sparks point in the location of gems that are missing. In Reignited Trilogy, you do that by pushing in the control stick. So, normally, if I'm far away from the return home portal, Normally, if I'm far away from the return home whirlwind, I just pause the game and select exit level, and you can end it quicker that way. However, in Artisans, you have to use the return home vortex at the end of one of them, like I did in Stonehill, in order to unlock Toasty. So, I just jump over the Shepherd's Cane. The dogs can be a bit annoying, since you have to flame them and then flame them again. And if you're not careful, they can hit you easily. I just approach them until they bark, flame, jump, and flame again, like that. You can charge the shepherds, I just flame them. You cannot charge the dogs, you have to flame them. Did again, nope. Jumped over the shepherd's cane. Now, even though this is a no damage playthrough legitimately, I did have some near misses. So, parts where I almost took damage. So, right then. If you actually watch the cutscenes compared to the original PlayStation game, the dragons you rescue in the boss stages actually reference the boss's name. They didn't do that in the original PlayStation game. So, turn Toasty into mutton, I will. Get both of these dogs at once, and then this one alone. Toasty! I'm sure a lot of you people watching may have played Mortal Kombat. That's what that joke is from, you know. Alright, moving on. A little fun fact you might or might not know about this game is that Argus, the dragon that you release in front of the Toasty gate, will say a different quote based on whether or not you've properly unlocked the Toasty stage. I showed that in my original Spyro long play videos. It's just not many people watch them. I do understand a lot of people prefer full long play videos. It's just I have storage limitations on a laptop, so I do it the way I possibly can do. Alright then. Town Square has a skill point in Reignited Trilogy for making all the bulls get stuck, so make sure to charge all of them. Every skill point you get, same as with the later games in the original trilogy, will give you an extra life. Then if you get all of them on one page, you unlock part of an art gallery, and all of them on the other page to unlock the other half of the art gallery, showing off concept art from each of the games in the trilogy by the Toys for Bob staff. Not quite as interesting, though, as the epilogues that the original PlayStation games had, besides the first one. You weren't even within range to hit me. Alright then. Just panning the camera around and making sure I'm not missing channels. That's all. Alright then. I like to jump and flame the thief right there as he jumps to get him easier. So, you know, it's kind of like I complained in my previous video about how, people are getting over-anticipated about the Switch successor announcement, which might not be sooner rather than later. Part of it is because of over-speculation. The same's kind of being said about the Crash and Spyro franchise. After the release of Crash Team Rumble, which pretty much died a very short death from what I gather, unless I'm just not paying much attention to news updates about the franchise, You know, people are getting really expectant about Spyro's next game. And sadly, I'm not even sure if Spyro's next game is even going to come out. You know, Microsoft fired close to 40% of Toys for Bob's staff. Then Toys for Bob left and became their own company. And ever since the teaser they made on X, Twitter, we haven't gotten word of Spyro's game since. Just so you know, you can unlock Icy Flight before rescuing Lucas and Wizard Peak, even in the original PlayStation game. I didn't know that until I started watching videos of the game on YouTube. So, here we go. You see, about 40% of Toys for Bob getting fired. It's likely that some of the people that were fired might have been key creators of Spyro's upcoming game. And that would be why we haven't seen word of it after the little teaser they gave us about it on X or Twitter at the start of the year. If key creators are gone from the staff, then games that they were working on have to be canceled, or at least delayed. And there's no promising that the remaining staff at Toys for Bob really know how to continue Spyro after Year of the Dragon. Insomniac Games didn't do it, so it's not looking good for Spyro. And I want to be wrong, it's just I'm very pessimistic for good reasons, so. You know, I think if we just kept quiet about it for a little bit, it'll happen sooner. And if we continue raving about it, it'll happen later. Same goes for other major game announcements. So, you know. Get these arches here, then we're done. Alright, so that leaves Dark Hollow for the Artisans area. Just through here. Off we go. Alright, so, the big Club Gnorc here has a bigger hit detection box than, the other ones in the level do, so you gotta approach him carefully and then back up as he strikes his club before you attack him. You can be a little bit safer about the others. Alright, so, yeah. the other side quickly. There, we're done with Artisans. If you're going for an any percent, or if you just want to access Peacekeepers early, you're required to find at least 10 of the dragons and free them.
Are you ready to go?
It'll take a while to proceed to a different homeworld area from the loading screens. So since this is a video recording, I can just pause and resume from where it actually begins. So here we are. In the original PlayStation title, I remember the Cannoneer Gnorcs, where the arches over there would shoot cannonballs in perfect sync into one another's cannons and shoot them back. In Reignited Trilogy, though, it kills one of them. So, whatever. Let 6 of the Gnorcs go inside their tents for a skill point. Then we're gonna take them out. If you burn their tent and face away from them, they still moon you. For those of you that are in the nudity humor. I know for a fact I have some people like that as fans of me on DeviantArt. I have to make comics for one of them almost every single day. Get these ones. We're gonna shoot the cannon to open up this section and to break some sturdy chests. Usually it'll go after the pop-top chest in the background if I try to shoot that one, so I make sure to aim carefully to keep that from happening. Not that it breaks the game, which it doesn't. The normal gem will just be lying there instead. Typically, I do Night Flight before I collect the rest of the gems and Peacekeepers to save me from having to come back up this somewhat scary jump later. So, we're gonna do Night Flight right now. This is not easy by any means. Start the rings. Then do the chests. The treasure chests appear in every single flight base level in the game, and it's the only kind of target that does. You can press jump while flying to have Spyro adjust his height position a little bit and make it a little easier to reach certain ledges, which is useful for arches and chests in particular. Hurry up and get the lamps. Right, go there. Now we gotta get the rest of the gems, as well as an egg, and one dragon in the home area. Keep up the good work, and I know you'll fulfill your destiny. Destiny? I just want to kick some just toasty enemies and collect the treasure. Like they cut off Spyro about to say a bad word. They actually do have profanity in Crash Bandicoot 4. So it makes me wonder if they'll cuss it all in Spyro's new game once it eventually does happen. Alright, so now that we really have all the gems, we can proceed to Dry Canyon. Let's go. Dry Canyon is a little bit tricky, just in a few parts here and there, though very enjoyable. I'm one of the few Spyro players that actually uses the roll left and roll right every so often. If you use it right, it can actually really help you to dodge enemy hits. Usually for evasion, jumping is enough. I'm just saying. Get caught in here. There's an egg thief back here, so... Try not to get motion sick from the scrolling loop around. There. I'm just making sure I didn't miss any of the gems here. You can charge the vultures, which I didn't really know, I think, in the original PlayStation game. Playing that, so... yeah. Right, now we're gonna go this way. I'm pretty sure about Spyro saying that he was born to glide, that he actually meant it. Just saying. It all depends on you, the player. You can see him do that, though. You can't exactly glide from that ledge in between the tower and the cliff wall because of a boundary that is there, so say no. Why I didn't go that way. You can do that, though. Some top chests, followed by some enemies. I'm gonna get the vultures before I rescue the dragon in there, so they stay on my way. Notice I missed those Shemps here, so... Alright then, we just gotta get some more gems. You obviously gotta keep your distance from the fireworks baskets, because their detonation does hurt you. They also damage you if you charge them, so avoid doing that as well. Somewhat scary glide. Typically, the fan chest fans will propel into the nearest destructible item in front of them after you blow their top and get the gem from them. I take advantage of that in this game as well. Next up is Cliff Town. I just love how they have a chest at the beginning like that you have to rotate the camera behind you in order to see it. And I'm sure a lot of us struggled at first to figure out where some of the gems in this level were. I'm talking about the ones that are behind the building at the start. I did figure it out on my own eventually. Long before I played Reignited Trilogy, so... It worked out in the end. Remember, you have to flame the cauldrons in order to get some of the gems, where the fat ladies are. And it's easier to tell in Reignited Trilogy if you've already flamed the cauldron, because the fires are ignited on the wood underneath them. Which obviously wasn't in the original PlayStation game. This thief in particular requires a few different loops around the area he runs around. There also seems to be a little algorithm that prevents Spyro from attacking with flame while charging against the thief if your inputs are too close to one another, which is also a little bit annoying. Like I said, specifically in Reignited, I have a habit of jumping to charge enemies to avoid damage. Did you know you could do that? You can, though you're not supposed to be able to hit it that way. Now we're going up here. The fat Lady Smacks are not enough to damage you. They just send you flying. There's one in Dr. Shemp in particular that can be dangerous for that reason. If you're as good at the game as I am, though, you'll be flaming them on command before they even have a chance to hit you. So... big old glide over here. Occasionally, if the vultures are really high, while you hit them with a charge, their talon attack and your horn attack will conflict with one another, and neither of you will take the hit. That happened to me once in one playthrough. Just wait for them to get low enough so that you can actually hit them with the charge or flame. I like to get this vulture from behind before he even starts flying. Alright then. After releasing Marco, a new whirlwind will appear, making it easier to get back to that cliff top. Now we're gonna get those well-hidden gems I talked about before. Right here. Very well placed indeed, Insomniac Games. There's a chest I missed. Just a few more gems on these tower tops here. And we're done. Alright, I'm actually going to do Dr. Shemp before the Ice Cavern. Get this guy out of the way early. If you let the kamikaze runners run over the cliff, you'll instantaneously get their gem. I just prefer to charge them out because I'm sadistic that way. Also, if you destroy the fat lady with the 3 kamikaze runners right here, so that you destroy her before she hits the last kamikaze runner, it will attack you if you approach him, despite the fact that he's physically blind. So, have some common sense. pretty scary glide to a lone purple gem. Get the key. Now we face the boss. Again, Trewando, I believe. Yeah. Actually mentions Dr. Shemp's name after you release him in Reignited Trilogy, though not the original PlayStation game. I'm gonna roll, and then burn him in the back. Burn his back end. In the next phase, he'll do a twirl, followed by a clubbing. Just flame him quickly while he's away. And then in the final phase, he'll do a rolling sweep with his club. So jump and then flame. Skill point for no damage. I'm just gonna get the gems and then select exit level from the pause screen because we're going very far away from the return home portal. So. There. Alright, we still gotta do Ice Cavern. I would say Ice Cavern is the most difficult Peacekeeper's level. Though if you're as good as I am, you'll have few problems. If you jump and glide from that pedestal and veer right, that's the answer to how do you get the extra life chest you see on that pedestal at the end. I used to think those were just a troll and that they were unobtainable. Though it turns out there is a legit way to get them. So, yeah. I'm going this way, though, because it is safer. We're gonna get rid of that big armor Gnorc, so it's safer to go the other way. Since I have to do some loops around here for the chest and for the lock chest and the key. Would have been funny if I hit him down the hole in the middle. Oh well. Go back to the lock chest earlier. Get the gems inside. Gnorc might require a third charge to bash him off, depending on how quickly you ram him off. More to go. That wraps up Peacekeepers. For magic crafters, you have to collect enough gems rather than free enough dragons.
I can't hop aboard for the magic crafters world if you're ready.
Alright, so, gonna skip over this long loading screen so that we can get through this a little bit quicker. So here we are in Magic Crafters, which is where the game starts to get tough. You have to get this thief as soon as he starts running, or he'll hang out in a place you can't reach, and you'll have to exit the room and come back to try again. I do like how the armor druids still say, ow, after you first charge them. It's just because of the high definition. They no longer fall flat on their head and become flat as paper, which is dead air under their cloak. Instead, they land on their back with their legs up, and it just so happens that they're barefoot. So... you saw me do some cool tricks with the blow fan chests on those green druids to take them out easier. Got another one of these guys. Got him. There are more egg thieves and magic crafters than artisans and peacekeepers, and then there are none at all in the later worlds. Egg thieves specifically. So. You have to use the supercharge to get the green druid here. At least the green druids have sandals. Alright, we're gonna get the key for the locked chest hidden elsewhere. These lightning mages can be a real pain, especially in Wizard Peak and Blowhard, so... in previous recording attempts where I failed, I had some problems with them. Like I said, I wanted to do a no damage playthrough, which this video is. Get the lock chest in here. And from here, we're gonna go to Alpine Ridge. There are some parts of Alpine Ridge that can be a little bit intimidating. I just love how in Reignited Trilogy, specifically the fruit that the armored druids throw to the beasts are Wumpa fruit from Crash Bandicoot Insane Trilogy. This is only true for Reignited Trilogy, not the original game. Although Crash and Spyro have been crossovers ever since Spyro first came into existence, with Crash Bandicoot Warped having a certain cheat code you could input to play a demo for Spyro 1. Since then, they've been crossing over. They're like Swarm Brothers, as people may call them. I'm not gonna lie, I do slightly prefer Spyro over Crash, simply because I grew up with Spyro. The very first game I played on a game console was Spyro on the PlayStation 1, which I no longer have, so it was imperative that I got Reignited Trilogy after it came out on the Switch, for that reason. And then I would play Crash as well eventually, and I do like Crash as well, just, you know. Crash Bandicoot gets a lot more love than Spyro from the fan base. So, you know. And the game's creators seem to prefer Crash over Spyro as well, which is understandable. That beast wasn't exactly in range of me to tackle me. Yes, I know, I missed 3 gems there. I realized that while I was actually playing the game, so I'll come back to get them later. The platforms that the green druids move here can be a little tricky, especially in the original PlayStation game. So, kinda keep in rhythm with their movement in order to make the jumps. One more of these. There's an egg thief I gotta catch now. You will probably have to do another lap around this lane in order to actually catch the thief, especially if you get the gems first. So... You gotta back away from the fireworks baskets after igniting them, as in you gotta immediately jump and glide to the next pedestal. So you'll have to in and out for this one. Then, that was where I realized I missed those gems earlier. So... They specifically designed these so that you can go back to the starting point if you need to do so, like this. So, here they are. Normally, I'm good at memorizing where these gems are. Right, high caves. One of the more interesting ones, in my opinion. You definitely want to start by going this way. I like to wait, usually, for the Tornado Druids to hit the Elder Wizards with their tornadoes before I go forth. So I'm waiting for this one. I just love how the Wizards and the Druids are fighting each other. It's like Gnasty's own minions are not friends even to each other. Unless they're the same kind. So... You got Druids fighting Wizards. Sure. Gotta be extra careful while crossing these pillars with Druids on them. Skill point for burning the painting you just saw. You have to use Supercharge to kill the metal spiders. If you head-on collision them, you might have the Supercharge cancelled, and you can take damage. Hesitation kind of made me hit the wall, so I have to try again. See how I slowed down after hitting him because I hit him head on. You have to charge and flame the druid quickly to progress here. Then the other one is on the ledge, so you'll be safe anyway. Receive a kiss from this Super Flame Fairy. And we use Super Flame to kill the other spiders. Good riddance, I'm very arachnophobic. And Spyro seems to be as well. Some firework baskets. Welling glide here, and there's a lake thief. I'll catch that son of a blood maple. Gotta run back through to get some gems that I missed along the way. One gem, whatever. Then, it's not possible to physically glide around here, so they have fairies that catch Spyro and carry him back to the supercharged spot if you fall here. The thieves that run around these ponds here and in Wizard Peak can be a little scary since Spyro obviously can't swim in this game. So, just glide after them and hope that they are not running real far away from you in the process. Gonna hitch a ride for the fairies once again. And get what's left in here. Right, moving on. We're gonna do Crystal Flight now. As some of you may know, Spyro Reignited Trilogy is actually very buggy. Especially the other games in the trilogy, especially Year of the Dragon. However, on very rare occasions, I would still encounter a glitch in Spyro 1. One of the weirdest ones I've ever gotten to date was on Crystal Flight once. The camera kept angling downward as I was flying, making it harder to navigate through the course. And I am certain it was not analog stick drift, because if it was, it would have ceased momentarily if I wiggled the control stick. And that didn't happen. Super weird. I had to dock on the platform where that one arch was and wait a moment before I proceeded so I could catch up with the airplanes in sync. Which I didn't have to do in the original PlayStation game. So, I've played this game so much, in fact, that I know a good number of technical tidbits with it. So, yeah. Alright, go there. Alright, Wizard Peak, one of the hardest in the game. Let's go. The enemies in Wizard Peak can hit you very easily if you're not careful. Gotta be careful around the Snow Gnorcs and the Thunder Mages. There we go. The original Spyro the Dragon was largely credited for its music. The game's music was written by Police drummer Stuart Copeland, and the songs from the original Spyro the Dragon are some of the best he's ever written. He even says so himself. And I remember some of the songs from Spyro would be used in other people's work. For example, the Wizard Peak theme was used as the ending theme for Nickelodeon's The Amanda Show, a former live-action show that Nickelodeon did that I used to love as a child. And I noticed that the credits sounded similar to the Wizard Peak theme from my favorite game, Spyro. And it's sensible, because the Spyro series has voice actors that are flat out from Nickelodeon. Besides Tom Kenny being the voice of SpongeBob and Gary, Spyro's first voice actor, Carlos Alazaraki, is the voice of Rocco Rama, and a lot of the dragons in the first game were voiced by Clancy Brown, the voice of Mr. Krabs. Little trivia you probably already knew. This is not an easy level by any means, to memorize how to beat it, and to dodge the enemies. So, you gotta be really good at the game like I am. The Supercharge is also a little bit different in Reignited Trilogy compared to the original PlayStation game. In the original PlayStation game, Spyro would get more of a kick with his Supercharge if he runs along more than one Supercharge lane. In Reignited Trilogy, though, it kicks the longer a Supercharge is sustained. So... These Snow Gnorcs can hit you with their clubs very easily, so I approach them to get within their hit detection, back off, then hold forward, and then flame them after they strike. Like this. Ever hear of bop and weave? I also like how, in the original game, the Snow Gnorc actually crushes the armored druid you see here. Yet, in this game, the druid dodges him. It's kind of funny. Then there's just a random wizard here. In the original PlayStation game, after you rescue Lucas, that dragon, the stones would light up in Artisans if you jump on them. Yet you could still access Sunny Flight before that point. They just made it so that it's hard to tell that at first. Now you have to do some very well-aimed supercharging and jumping to make the jumps to get some of the gems and one of the eggs here. Jump at the wrong angle, and you'll fall to your death. So, that part of the level is very intimidating. That's a really bad place for a thief to be hiding. If, you manage to find him. Now we're gonna do the other jump that's like that. A jump that's a little bit less scary. That lamb can actually push you off if you're not careful. One of the rare cases where fodder can kill you. That leaves Blowhard, the Magic Crafter's boss. Gotta be careful how you enter the Blowhard portal, because the Thunder Mages can hit you. And we're off. Blowhard gave me some problems in previous recordings because of the Thunder Mages. I hate these guys so much. The way they pair up against you in parts, you can take a hit from their lightning very easily. First strike on the boss. Gotta get these pop-top chests. Right. Skill point for riding a druid platform for 10 seconds. Occasionally, it doesn't always work. So, this dragon just has a senior moment instead of giving you a word of advice about the boss. The boss is super self-explanatory, though. You should walk, not charge, to approach Blowhard in this phase. If you charge, he'll stay put and not be vulnerable until you slow down around him. Another technical tidbit for you. Then just flame him quickly before he can hit you with a storm cloud. That wraps up Magic Crafters. To access Beast Makers, you need to get 5 eggs from the Egg Thieves.
Papa, would you like to go?
For anybody that wants to do an any % playthrough. As someone that's very familiar with this game, though, I see no reason not to do full completion runs. Beastmakers is where I have more problems than anywhere else in the entire game. So, this was where I had some recording fails. It all worked out in the end, though. Very interesting design they made with the electric floors. Just so you know, that one doesn't detonate with the others. For whatever reason, they used the same design for the Warthogs in the Reignited Trilogy from Year of the Dragon as opposed to the original game, and they even move like they do in Year of the Dragon in Molten Crater. Yet you can still only flame them and not charge them. They shouldn't have done that, because the way that they move in Reignited Trilogy is a bit more intimidating, and it resulted in me having a near miss with one during the recording. So, yeah. Got some ledge climbing with electric floors we gotta get past here. I like how they added a few different elements for lesser details, like how you can flame and destroy the mushroom clusters in the Beastmaker's home world. Those weren't there in the original game. This... Then we're gonna climb up here and glide over to the Terrace Village. Lots of electric torture going on here. I had to make a run for it because I missed that guy as he started to attack me. It can be very easy to miss gems at the starting point here. Just take a good look around the side. I made myself promise I wouldn't miss the gems in this specific recording. like how that guy actually destroys the chickens. They do incorporate some elements from the other games in this game of Reignited Trilogy, like how after destroying a certain number of fodder creatures, you get a blue butterfly, which gives you an extra life. So, yeah. There is a skill point in Terrace Village for making it to the end without taking any damage to the electric floors. And just in case anybody's wondering why the Gnorcs aren't getting electrocuted while standing on the floor, they're wearing boots with soles that are made of rubber, and rubber doesn't conduct electricity. Spyro being barefoot kind of makes sense. The placement of some of these Gnorcs, like where the big guys with the stun rods are, can be a little bit scary. I just gotta stay focused. Having gems down here also means I gotta go my way back up there again afterward. I like how they add the sign at the out of bounds cliff. If you haven't played the game for yourself and want to know what the sign says, it says no skydiving. It's basically a warning that that part of the level is out of bounds, and going there will result in losing a life. I like to use this fan chest to get that last Gnorc here. Then we're gonna glide this way and get the gems and fireworks that are on the rooftops. Right, now we go back to the ending point and get the gems that are there. Alright, moving out. Next up is Misty Bog, which is a pretty scary one, in my opinion. Like I said earlier about the warthogs. Alright, here we go. Start with the Gnorc dude behind here. The enemies here can be very dangerous in particular, and there are only a couple of chickens in the entire level, so you cannot afford to make mistakes here. Those dragon-eating plants can get you easily if you're not careful with your flaming. The attack frogs are also a nuisance. I always jump after I flame them to make sure I avoid their attack should I miss. The enemies turn against each other here as well. You got warthogs killing the Gnorcs and the attack frogs in certain parts. Set the chicken free, because I can. The way the enemies are placed in here, especially in Reignited Trilogy, it can be tough to avoid damage. So I just do it as carefully as I can. Do some bob and weave to get past these guys. Like this. Damon. That's the name of my Charizard on my DeviantArt page. Compared to my other Pokemon OCs, he's definitely the most popular one. And I'm not surprised because, you know, he's a Charizard. One of the biggest attention hogs in the Pokemon franchise. And Damon also hates Spyro, so shout out to my own characters for this long play. For anybody watching this video that's unaware, I am an artist. And I have been uploading pics on DeviantArt since late February this year. So I figured I could post pictures of some of my own fan art on my YouTube channel as well, so I could reach a bit of a bigger audience. I'm just not sure if people would be bothered to watch pictures of people's fan art on my channel if they're, you know. I do know a few of my fans on DeviantArt subscribe to me. Among my only a little over 40 subscribers at the moment. I'm not giving up, believe me. I like to let the warthogs kill the Gnorcs here. For example, maybe after I upload this video, I might showcase the Spyro fan art I've made thus far. There's also one particular DeviantArt user that came across my page that's essentially using me for YouTube and is putting the pictures I made for him up on his channel. And somehow they're getting views, and somehow he already has a couple hundred subscribers. And he's not mentioning me with an @ symbol in the video's description. Does he even know that I have a channel? Oh well. I'm trying to come up with different ideas for what I could upload on YouTube, like opinion videos, and different games besides non-pure arcade games. Alright, so we're gonna take a cool glide trip right here to return home, and we can move on. We're gonna do Wild Flight next, which is down this well. I found this speedway to be so difficult in my earliest playthroughs of the original PlayStation game. And while I'm significantly better at it now than I was back then, it can still give me some problems, like it kinda did in this recording. As you can see, I missed that boater, which really screwed me up. And I couldn't turn well enough to make the tunnel, so I really had to resume my stability and really get it going again. There you go, I missed another one. It's already in the tunnel. I really gotta pick up the pace from here then. Now do. And he's slower, and that warthog would have hit me. That's why I hate the way they are in Reignited Trilogy. Alright, here we go, treetops. We all know what this one's like. It's considerably the hardest in the game to figure out how to complete 100%. Once you figure it out, though, and memorize it, it's actually great fun. So. I just love how these little monkeys are named banana heads, and they throw bananas at you. It's hilarious. Alright, so here's the dreaded getting the green thief in this level. The legitimate way to do it is as follows. Start here. Veer right here. Run on this supercharged lane. Jump on the right end. Go on this one. Jump on that one while avoiding the torches. And glide. There is also a speedrunner way to do it, where you can do a carefully aimed jump veering right at the very end of the first supercharge ramp, and continuing that way, though it's difficult to do. A trip so difficult, in fact, that Spyro himself complains about how hard it is after you release that dragon. Yeah, well, you could have found an easier spot to get stuck. I think that's hilarious. Alright, we're gonna go this way. You gotta sustain the supercharge here, because there's a sturdy chest right here. And a very randomly placed strong arms. Alright, we're gonna go here. Here. I love how that banana head just bounced off the strong arm's shoulder. Another glitch that I've seen happen in the original Spyro and Reignited Trilogy before was a bug that affected the hit detection of the Red Thief, making it impossible to hit him, where he would stay put at the supercharge ramp and not move, and you can't kill him. That's another weird glitch I found in this game once in one playthrough. For the most part, the original Spyro the Dragon is sorted out well, and the other games are more notoriously glitchy. However, even the original Spyro has some glitches you'll find on rare occasions. Luckily, these glitches are temporary and will stop if you reset the game from where you left off, so it's not a big deal. It's not like they're game breaking. After getting that sturdy chest, we're gonna go for the Red Thief. Jump here. Run here. Then we run along here. Jump. And then we we got the red thief right here. Got it. Alright, we are out of here. Alright, next up is my personal least favorite level in the original Spyro, and that's the Metalhead stage. This was often in previous playthroughs where I would have problems. Alright, here we go. That armored banana head could have taken me by surprise easily. So, we got a very tricky jump through a narrow spot here. What I call pseudo-hovering has saved me. That's the animation Spyro makes if you only barely make a glide. Gonna go this way for some more gems. Got the key for the lock chest later. I'll go this way. There's a blue gem I missed. Some other gems I missed as well down there. Making sure I wasn't missing any more that way. Now the fun parts. You have to destroy Metalhead by destroying all of his power poles. And you have to wait until they stop electrifying themselves to safely hit them. You know what else? The skill point for beating him without taking damage doesn't always register. That's another one of the few bugs this game has. Luckily it did in this recording. Gotta be extra careful if he rolls his strong arms at you. Those can hit you easily. You're finished. here's where the lock chest is. That wraps up Beast Makers. In my opinion, the most intimidating part of the game. The criteria for unlocking Dreamweavers is also the strictest. You have to rescue 50 dragons to access Dreamweavers, which is all except 8 of them. So, you can't slack off if you want to progress. Well, here we go. Unfortunately, the grow and shrink cannon that one of the fools uses in the epicenter of this world doesn't have any effect on Spyro himself. The big versions of the Slap Happy Armor Fools are obviously invincible since they're big and wearing armor, so you have to wait for them to get shrunk. Whereas the Carrot Top Fools, you can always flame, big or small. Gotta be careful how you glide towards the Carrot Top monks. If you come at them in the wrong direction, they can hit you, and you can get sent over the edge. You have to use the cannon yourself to get these specific Slap Happy Armored Monks that are guarding the pathway to the flight area. So, I grew that one on purpose. It's another little tidbit I learned for no damage playthrough attempts. Skill point for a secret room. Not sure if that was even there in the original PlayStation game. You can't exactly veer right while taking that whirlwind up. Safely, I mean. I recall in one playthrough, this specific bull, while small, kicked me over the edge after I landed. So I always grow him and flame him upon arrival to keep that from happening. Since I'm literally right where the gate is, we'll start with Haunted Towers, which is actually supposed to be the most difficult level in Dreamweavers. I'm not scared of it at all, though. Typically, I can play Dreamweavers without taking damage. I'm more afraid of Beastmakers. I just love how they had to replace the grenades that the Gnorcs in Haunted Tower use with cartoonish bombs. Just to ensure the game would be rated E10. The Thunder Mages in Haunted Towers aren't as bad to deal with. I tend to miss gems at the starting point here, so I'm making sure I'm not for this recording. Once more with this fairy, so I can get a jump start at the armor suits up ahead. Get these armor suits quickly. There's also a sturdy chest. There we go. There is a very easy to miss skill point here in Reignited Trilogy. With a very well aimed glide here to the tower top you see over there, there is a blue wizard hat. And if you flame it, that's a skill point. So, yeah. Got some tricky supercharging to do as well. There's actually an armor suit in this room. I got him at the supercharge. Daddy. Might as well get the armor suit while I'm here. The real reason I got the Super Flame, though, is for a sturdy chest. Right here. Now, we gotta go right through this path with the supercharge. This part's really fun. If you're quick enough to move past all the armor suits, a sweet little reward awaits. This orange fairy you see here gives you Super Flame that lasts until you leave Haunted Towers. Talk about convenient. Alright, we can take out these armor suits for real now. Stop hesitating. There we go. Try to remember that there's also a sturdy chest earlier, before you drop down that hole. Super Flame sends weaker enemies flying a massive distance for some reason. Right, we are moving out from here. Of course, this means we lose the Super Flame. Take these whirlwinds to go back to the starting point. As we approach the Dark Passage. This is a really fun one as well. Just stay on the safe side. I'm gonna wait until they get shrunk. Gotta be careful of the devil cupids. They can catch you off guard if you're not careful around them. There are also a few fools here that will not reignite or blow out their lamps at will. So you have to flame them to light their lamps up. Just some of them. Wow. Awful. I want to show you that you can break this sturdy chest without the firework at the end by using the armor turtle. A little technique I know that you might not have known. Those devil cupids could have gotten me easily. They could have. Go down here. The devil cupids cannot be charged. You have to flame them. Just so you know. Looks like that turtle got one of the magic shrooms. There we go. You have to flame that fool on your own to shrink the turtles. That one doesn't light the lamp on its own. I just love how there's ground in that one slot instead of water, like in the original game. Cupids are what you need to watch out for here in particular. We are moving on. We're gonna do Icy Flight next. Get the final one of these over with. For Icy Flight, I just get the lamps and the chests together. Luckily, landing on the land doesn't disqualify you. Only landing in the water does. Then I get a couple trains going this way. Then I stop for the copter packs here. And follow suit with the other remaining sector. Got out of there. Next up is Lofty Castle. Pretty stupid idea to allow yourself to be floating in the air with a balloon like that. Throughout Lofty Castle, there are certain segments where you have to rescue 3 fairies that are locked in cages with signs on them telling you not to feed them. After rescuing all of them, they will activate a whirlwind somewhere that will allow you to progress. The devil cupids, again, can be a little annoying, so keep your eye out on them. That one could have shot me easily as I was cutting my way through the pelican-like monsters. Wait for the balloons so I can get them. You mean to tell me the Gnorcs died after they fell from that kind of height? It's not even that long of a drop. The surreality of games for ya. More supercharging. I wanted to wait to go down here because of the lock chest, since I have the key now. Those devil cupids didn't even see me. Also love how that red pop-top chest is the only chest in the game of its kind. I was gonna say I also love where the arrow lands after you defeat the cupids, if they land on the ground. Any closer behind, and that would have been pain like heck. Alright then. The debris from the cage prevented me from reaching these fans. Wow. Another easy-to-miss skill point exists here as well. Start by gliding over here. A very well-aimed glide off of here. That's good enough. And then you charge the stump that you just see there. If you're not careful while taking out these pelican-like monsters, the gems can land in the water. So, be careful where they land. Very well. So this leaves Jaques, the boss. You can get hit off here easily as well if you're not careful about the enemies and how you defeat them. You know how some games have a stage where there's like a way that's faster and more dangerous and a lane that's slower and safer? This part of the Jaques level is kind of like that, only kinda. Except if you're obviously truly completing the game, you gotta go through both ways. This specific fool activates a platform that takes you to one of the dragons, as well as some more gems. Right here. Gotta be extra quick while crossing this one. An unnecessary pseudo-hover. Take out these ogres like this. Glide here. Interesting how the columns light up if you touch them. If you're really quick, you can get the jamming key and still make it to the edge over there with one activation of the fools. Jaques himself is not a hard boss. If you're not quick enough, though, he can hit you with one of his boxes. Skill point for no damage. And that wraps up the Dreamweavers. Only Gnasty's world is remaining then. For Gnasty's world, you need, like, along the lines of 6,000 gems, approximately.
Well, yes, are you ready to go?
If I remember correctly. So, here we go. Interesting how the dragons in Gnasty's world are dragons you previously rescued. Like they got crystallized all over again. So we're moving on to Gnorc Cove. Good old retro days. Jumping over rolling barrels, huh? It's also good to know that the enemies in Gnorc Cove and Reignited are actual Gnorcs and not like humans. Charge this barrel into the sturdy chest. This. Right. Gotta go, here. Wow. That was better. You can do a dominoes effect with these barrels. Except I didn't get the big guy at the end, so... more to my liking. Dominoes effect on these guys. This key is actually technically optional. Because you can charge a steel barrel into the lock chest and open it that way if you wanted. Sure they hit both of them at once with the same barrels. Then we just use the exit gate, and we can progress. It's important to use the exit vortex at the end of every level in Gnasty's world to actually unlock the next one. So this is Twilight Harbor, another contender for being one of the hardest in the game. It's also another victim of censorship. The assault rifles and grenades were replaced with sludge guns and explosive kegs. Kinda looks like Splatoon weaponry, if you ask me. They did that to ensure that the game would be rated E10, I reckon. Censorship gets progressively more and more strict over the years, after certain tragic events like school shootings. So, there you go. This one seems to throw his kegs from side to side, alternately. This is the last we'll have to worry about supercharge. Start the chest that way. Then we're gonna flame the drawbridge handles to make a ramp and supercharge up that for some more gems. There's a bit of a technical issue in Twilight Harbor and Reignited as well. After you rescue Cletus, the mice fodder will disappear instantly and not come back, making it even harder to survive it should you take damage. So if you need to heal Sparks at all before you progress, do it before you rescue Cletus. Another technical tidbit from the master opponent. Someone with a lot of experience with this game. The small Gnorc commando up ahead will shoot as soon as you jump, so jump while standing still to dodge his attack. Get these guys. Save flame. Right, moving on. After you beat Twilight Harbor, next in line is Gnasty Gnorc himself. Start by collecting gems in the room. Make sure you keep your distance from his sight because of his staff attacks. They are green thieves with keys you gotta catch. I couldn't get him in the first lap, so gotta try again. Now I gotta get another one. Usually I can catch him pretty early in the chase. Unfortunately, I couldn't in this recording. So I have to do a whole nother lap. Yes, I know, I missed the jam. I realized that after I rescued Magnus after the battle was over. You gotta stop and get all the gems here first. And that'll require you to do a whole nother lap to chase Gnasty, so... Then there's a do-or-die chase scene where you gotta get across waning platforms over lava while you chase him. It's all possible speed. Roll to the left as soon as you land here to dodge his attack. It's finished.
You're toast, Gnorc.
Skill point as well for no damage. Alright, we're not saying through the credits yet because they're like 19 minutes long. I'll save that for the very end of the video. Unskippable cutscene up ahead.
ancient history now. So, what's in there?
I believe this is Gnasty's treasure hoard. But the gate will only open if you have found everything in the Dragon Kingdom. Come back when you have reached 100%.
So I gotta go back and get the gem I missed earlier. And so with this, we have unlocked Gnasty's loot, which is the cherry on top kind of scene that you get for properly beating the game. Let's go. You can actually fly here, like in the speedways, so keep in mind that your maximum flight height is affected by your progression in the level, though. Start where you're able to go on profile and collect every gem. There are purple thieves scattered throughout, holding keys. Capture them to get the keys so you can progress. As you capture the thieves and get the keys, your maximum flying height will be increased. Right, now we're gonna go this way. You can get this thief easily by using one of the fake chests. There. I'm just gonna wait for him to fly into my direction. Take him by surprise like this. There's another flying one here. It's literally impossible, it seems, to catch him within one lap. Even if you literally get close enough to flame him, the game doesn't let you register it. So you have to complete a lap and get him on the start of the next lap. So I'm gonna hurry here. We have maximum flying height now. We're gonna set off some rockets to break sturdy chests on the rooftops. this place where I was supposed to go for a brief moment. This way. Seems like they made this room look like the room Gnasty was in the opening cutscene in Reignited Trilogy. And with that ends the game. You cannot skip the cutscene that plays at the very end, so...
Spyro the Dragon, you defeated Gnasty Gnorc, collected the dragon eggs, saved all the dragons, and recovered every bit of treasure in the Dragon Kingdom. How do you feel?
I feel fired up, Bob. And I'm happy for the dragon world, of course. I certainly wouldn't want to spend the rest of my dragon days butting heads with Gnasty Gnorc and his weird minions.
What's a minion?
Never mind. You know what they say. For every good battle, you need a good adversary. And I felt that Gnasty, in spite of his misguided nature, was a worthy opponent. Uh-oh. Here we go again.
That doesn't really translate into the events of his next game, though. Alright, so, there you go. That was a full completion run of Spyro 1 with no damage. Fantastic, huh? Would have been a bit shorter if it wasn't for the loading scenes. Now, I will leave you with the extremely long staff credits. I enjoy doing the no damage run of this game a lot, so, hopefully this reaches out and catches some attention. And I have some different ideas in mind for what I could upload later from here. So, yeah. Until my next upload, I am Crowlister. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in my next upload. Enjoy the credits, and see ya.